What if I were to tell you that there is a condo or one condo in Singapore that is RCR located at the city fringe, near the train station and near city center, and yet it is freehold, and the price that is going for is like 1,200 per square foot or 700,000 for a one bedroom, and yet, you know, if we were to look at new launches for RCR that is going for 2,008 to 3,000, which is more than double of this PSF, will you go for it? Will you buy it as a form of investment? You decide. Now, in today's topic, I will be talking about how to avoid unprofitable properties, okay? So actually, Edgeprop has written an article recently, which I will put on the link below, to talk about 4 properties that was actually unprofitable. And in this topic today, I will just be adding on to it of what I feel is my comments, and using my P.L.U.S system that I've talked about for the last few years. I use this to help my clients how to find good properties. So in this topic, I'll be going the other way around to find what is unprofitable. Okay, so now I just want to give you an example that although the four properties that Edgeprop was talking about is not in this map, okay, it's actually something slightly south down, maybe about 5 minutes walk along the Geylang 24. But I'll be talking about in 2015 what happened during my experience, that when I come up with my system that time. Well, at that time, there was actually 2 property launch. One is Since Urban Oasis, actually located over here, and the other one is 3 residences over here that is actually nearer the train station. Okay, so I have some clients who come and ask me, say, hey, I got these 2 properties that I'm keen in buying in this area. Price is about the same, you know, but one is nearer to a train station than the other. And why is it that I recommend Sims Urban Oasis more than 3 residences, although it is actually further away? So at the end of my slides, I'll be actually talking about some of the characteristics that Sims Urban Oasis has as compared to 3 residences. So it also doesn't mean that near MRT station is going to be more profitable. That's not really the case. So let's look at the past historical price trend. Okay, so when this property was launched at time, both of them was launched in 2015. So if you look in 10 years period, okay, for Sims Urban Oasis from 2015 all the way to 2025, it has a 38% growth. This is not bad, you know, it's like 4% growth per year, okay? And if we look at 3 residences, right, it actually grew at 30%. So although that it is not too bad, okay, but yet it is actually has a less profitable growth as compared to Sims Oasis, although it is near to a train station. But what Edgeprop was talking about, one of the 4 condos is number 1 Loft. Okay, this was one of the properties was launched at that time. So if you look at 2015, now 2020 in Sims Oasis, right, the launch price was roughly around 1,400 per square foot. But when we see number 1 Loft at time, right, it is actually in 2014 at time when it was launched at time, it was only launching at 1,200 per square foot. Not only is it 1,200 per square foot, it is a freehold property. Okay, it is a freehold property, but when you look at it over the last 10 years period, right, there's no growth at all. Okay, you buy and then you sell now, and then yet the price is actually the same. So what are some takeaway messages that I'd like to share? So if we look at the first takeaway key message, is just want to let you know is that don't always emphasize on freehold. Freehold doesn't mean it is good. Freehold doesn't mean it is profitable. There are other factors that you have to look into it to determine whether is this a profitable property. Okay, so doesn't mean freehold is good. Okay, now number 2 is that location matters. Okay, location matters a lot because we are not talking about amenities. Okay, because like for example, if we were to look at these 2 locations, one is towards the north of Aljunied, which is Sims Road. The other one is at Geylang. So of course, Geylang will have a more bad rep to it, and that is why the Sims Oasis seems to be more profitable. There seems to be a higher demand for it. Okay, again, both are located equal distance to a train station. Both are at Aljunied MRT station, very near to the city center. So location plays a part. Now the next one I just want to talk about is that amenities doesn't really matters a lot. Okay, yes, we talk about some amenities that is important is like MRT station, eateries. Okay, but then again, if you look at Sims Urban Oasis, it is further away from the eateries. And yet, if we look at the 1 Loft is near eateries, and yet is not doing a lot of good because slightly it's also affected by the location, by looking at the reputation. Okay, in fact, you should be looking more in terms of the developer reputation, the amenities of the condominium, where people want to stay inside, which will come down to my later slide. Okay, now the next one very important is that layout matters, not size. So I do have a lot of clients who come and see show flat and says, wow, it's only 400 square feet, it's only 500 square feet for the one bedroom. It looks very, very small, okay, from your mentality. But then now again, do take note that of course of the post-harmonization, they don't count the aircon latch into it. So you can't compare now the properties to last time the properties. If you want to do a very fair comparison, you have to add in the size of the aircon latch to do a fair to fair comparison. All right. But then again, layout is important. What is it that buyers want right now? Size of living room, size of bedroom, enclosed kitchen, you know, size of the balcony, all this matters a lot. So since Urban Oasis was actually doing a very right sizing at that point of time in 2015 when they sell our properties as compared to 3 residences and compared to number 1 Loft or other properties that is in Geylang area. So I do have clients who are looking in this area. They want rest of central region. So I brought them to these few properties, you know, and they when they enter into Since Urban Oasis at the time, they have a very, very good appeal or very good feel about it. Okay, it gives, although the house is smaller, yet it gives a bigger feeling. Okay. And of course, number of units matters. Okay. If you read the Edgeprop property, which I encourage you to, most of the 4 units that are non-profitable are less than 100 units. I always been telling my clients that avoid less than 150 units for 2 reasons. Number 1, maintenance fee. Okay, now when less unit at a time, you have either pay more maintenance fee or your facilities may not be as good, which means your swimming pool may be very small. For huge developments, you know, like Since Oasis, if I'm not wrong, was more than 600, 700. Okay, and it was a very huge property development. It has a lot of facilities, you know, it has very huge swimming pools, and till now it is still properly maintained, and yet the maintenance fee is not going very high up. So because why? Huge number of people will be able to share the sinking fund together. That's why they are able to maintain it as a very good amenities. Okay, of course, you know, Oasis has very, very good reputation. Is actually by Geylang. Geylang is actually one of the top 3 developers of Singapore. They actually do Geylang Towers, you know, they do transformation of Tanjong Pagar, and with a very good developer. Okay, so for me, when I buy my own property at a time, I always look at developer. Developer is my first choice. Okay, I will only buy properties that are undergo by very good developers. So if the development is good at time, okay, it gives buyers a very good feeling about it. They are able to, they do go down to the market to question and to ask buyers, what is it that you want? Okay, what are you looking for? And from there, they manage to get your architect to design what the clients want. Okay, last and foremost, this is the most important one, buyer profile. Know the buyer that is going to buy your property. So the problem with Geylang property is that because it's in District 24, okay, so to come back to location at a time, because District 24 is the even district. So not many people know about this, but just let me share with you is that bank do not give loan for homeowners or buyers who want to buy even number district in Geylang. Odd number, they are okay with it. Even number, they are not okay with it. So which means you are not able to take a bank loan from a even number district in Geylang. However, you can only take a bank loan from loan financing companies, you know, like Hong Leong Finance. Okay, they will be able to lend you. So the first thing to note is that, and then secondly is that because of the red light district area, the type of buyers will be smaller. Okay, which means, right, likely this group of buyers are likely investors and not so much buying for own stay. So you have already cut quite a lot of people who are willing to buy from you. Okay, again, buyer profile is very important. Same always is actually nearer to a school, the Geylang Methodist School, and that is why there are more people buying into that property. It looks more family oriented. So what I've talked about just now, okay, if you want to keep one into play, just take note of buyer profile. Every time you want to buy a property, take note what type of buyers is going to buy from you. Okay, this will also affect number of units. Why number of units? Because if you have less number of units, the number of people or number of transaction volume is much lower. So since there's not much transaction, it is very hard for it to boost the pricing up. And that is why it seems to be very undervalued. And even if this as undervalued property, I will not buy it, because if I were to buy it, yes, I buy at a very cheap price, but will someone else buy from me at this particular pricing that I want? And hence, that is why Geylang Properties has been losing money, okay, our unprofitable transaction. So I hope that today's video has given you an idea or a very small key points in which I like to share of what constitutes profitable and what constitutes unprofitable properties. Now, if you want to learn more about it, I will link my other articles to find out what are the characteristics of profitable properties. And I will also, and if you have any questions, just feel free to give me a text or put in the comment section. That's all I have for you. Thank you so long, and bye.